welcome to Monster Monday morning. I literally just woke up a couple minutes ago and was like, well, I got some free time really quick before I got to start this day. So let's talk about Deathgasm. This I got on Amazon Prime recently for like very cheap, like $7 or something. It was super, super cheap. So I picked it up because I love this movie and I could never find it for like less than like $30 or something crazy. And I was like, eventually it'll drop in price. And then Dave Z from Exploding Heads was like, hey man, it's only like super cheap on Amazon. So I ran over and like I looked and it wasn't. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, it was a minute ago. And then he like he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I don't know what the hell happened. I ordered mine. He like screenshot it and sent it to me, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? Why is it only on there for like 2 seconds at that price? And then like a couple hours later, he writes me again. He's like, hey man, it's back on. I don't know if he was like checking it to be like, I swear I don't understand. He was like trying to make up for it. I don't know, but whatever. I got it for stupid cheap. And then it like didn't ship for like 4 weeks, but it finally got here. And yeah, so let's talk about this movie. This movie stars Milo Cawthorn, who I'm a big fan of. If you haven't seen his movie Blood Punch, I highly recommend it. I've recommended it on the channel many times, but it's a movie I definitely should go and review because it's a cool film. And Milo's been in a bunch of things, but this would probably be his most well-known project. Outside of, unless you count him as a character in like Ash vs. Evil Dead, but he was only in that for a very short amount of time, like an episode or two. As was Samara Weaving for a very short amount of time as well. But yeah, so first things first with this movie. These might be some of the oldest looking high school students I've ever seen in a film. That's including like the 90s Dawson Creek era where they were casting like 40-year-olds to play teenagers. It's so funny. Like Milo Cawthorn and the blonde chick in this and you know, dude, these are not high school students. Not even close. Not even close. I didn't look up their ages, but dude, they gotta be in their 30s. They've gotta be. Which ain't old, by the way. Okay, just so you guys know, that ain't that old. But yeah, no, it's they're not in high school. That's for damn sure. So yeah, his Milo Cawthorn's parents die, and he has to move over to his aunt and his uncle's house, and you know they're a good Christian family, and he's the metalhead. I definitely wish that we would have played just a little bit more with that, with them trying to deny his music and his style of dress and attire and all that. If he would have fought back against it and be like, I'm fucking metal and I'll do whatever I want and whatever. We don't really get much of that. It's not a real knock because I think this movie's fantastic. Like, I know there's some people that were kind of disappointed by it, so when I went back to rewatch it, I was like, I loved it the first time. I'm really curious to see how this holds up this time. This movie's awesome. This movie's fucking awesome. So I don't understand what the disappointment is, but I think it's great, man. I think the characters are fun. I think the comedy fucking lands. Like, this is the second time I watched it, and I laughed out loud 15, 20 times. So there's some great gore, great comedy. I mean, it's comedy horror for sure. And some people don't like that. Dave Z is one of those people who really doesn't like horror comedy almost ever. But he bought this, so he must like this one. But it has a very Evil Dead feeling to it, no doubt about it. I mean, this film is definitely trying to emulate an Evil Dead, but with heavy metal music, which is great. I mean, that's a great combination. And I think everybody plays their part very well. And the comedy, when it tries to go for it, lands it really hard. So, yeah, I don't know. Dude, the first funniest part of this movie by far to me, when I just cracked up, was when Milo is listening to his music and he's like transported to this fantasy world where he's like this Viking fucking god, playing guitar, and then he just looks down with his laser vision at the at the babe at his leg, and he just zaps her top right off of her body, and then just starts rocking. It's so funny. It's so funny. Um, but then he we have this jock kid. Oh no, we got an intruder. Intruder alert. I'm recording a video. Intruder alert. What's going on? I'm trying to record. Hi. Hi and bye?
Yes, hi and bye.
Give me a minute.
You were just going to ask you something. Yeah.
What were you going to ask me, darlings?
Ellie thinks Luke is 4'8", and I think it's
Out.
5'8".
Out. That's what you were interrupting me for? Arguing over the height of a character in a movie. Having kids. So yeah, the jock kid who's like his cousin, you just want to punch so hard in the face. And I was very happy. That's another scene that's hilarious and is very reminiscent of the zombie Flanders scene in Treehouse of Horror, where Homer kills Flanders, and they're like, "Oh, Dad, you just killed the zombie Flanders," and he's like, "He was a zombie," but this is like the opposite of that. So when the jock kid comes in after he's beat the shit out of him and everything, and they've already killed a few of these demons, his jock cousin is clear as day not a demon, and he just, like, as soon as the kid walks through the door and says one word, Milo immediately fucking gets up and chops this guy's head off. Like, from here, I always talk about how I love decapitations that go through, like, the mouth and take this part of the head off, but it's so fast, it's so funny. And then his friend's like, he was clearly not a demon. He's like, "Oh no, you don't remember? He came in and he started saying some shit about Satan." Oh, that scene's amazing. That scene's fucking amazing. Like, you don't get much more cathartic than him just straight up kill. Like, he murders his cousin in this. Like, everyone else they kill, it's like justifiably they're demons. Like, what can they do? Whatever. But his cousin, he straight up murders him. He's a murderer. He kills him. And I fucking love it. This kid's a piece of shit. This kid is a piece of shit. The way he talks to his girlfriend, the way that he constantly beats the shit out of his cousin and fucking, like, picks on and abuses other people. Like, bullies like that. I say this all the time. And I stick to this with all my fucking heart. Kids like that don't ever change. That kid who was, like, a horrible bully, piece of shit in high school, I don't care how old you are right now. If that guy's still alive, he's still a piece of shit. I guarantee it. Even if it looks like on Facebook he's cleaned up his life, this and that, given the opportunity, he will be a piece of shit. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. What the fuck do I know? But I'm just saying, in my own personal opinion, those people don't change. There's something at their core that makes them fucked up. They don't have that same, like, moral filter like me and maybe you. Maybe you're that piece of shit bully in school and you're like, "I've changed." No, you haven't. But anyway, yeah, just to watch his head cut off in that moment, and just him basically acknowledging the fact that he just murdered him. So good. It's so fucking funny. That's more towards the end, but I don't care. We were on it. So, and then we get our first real kill in the movie, and it's the lead singer of this album that they stole. I think it's the singer. Doesn't matter, but whatever. They go in there, they grab the record, which ends up not even really being the record, but they find the sheet music, which is really what they're looking for. They don't know that's what they're looking for, but that's what brings the movie to life. But anyway, this guy goes in there, and he pulls the guy's head back, and he slits his throat, and like completely like cuts his neck open, and you see like this huge gap between his neck and the insides of his neck. It's amazing. It's one of the better slit throats I've ever seen. It's fucking brutal. And that's like the catchphrase of the film. Fucking brutal, man. Um, and then and then that guy who cuts his head off goes before his like master, whatever the hell this guy is, and he disappoints him. So he has the like he has his little lackeys there cut the dude's head off, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing? That's like an expensive rug." And he's like, "You're supposed to put a tarp down. Do it again." And they both are just like, they're wearing these like garbs and these masks and everything, and they just kind of like confusedly look at each other like, the fuck am I supposed to do? And they go and they like put a tarp over him, and then they like one holds his head against the separate body. They like pretend to cut it off again and let the head roll, and the guy is just like, all right, that's better. That shit's amazing. That's a great comedy gag in a horror flick, man. That's a great fucking joke. Do it again. Do it again. That's so good. And then I might be mistaken, but I'm like 99.9% sure the girl who's blowing him under the table is who takes charge later in the movie, which I think is fantastic. Like, you just kind of have like this throwaway blowjob girl in the movie who you think like, oh, this girl's just there to suck dick and to make a joke. But then this girl takes the upper hand, like, I've stayed close to you for so long as your little servant. Because when she stabs him in the throat, she's like, now who has the gag reflex or some gag reflex joke. It's got to be the same chick. You only see her for like half a second, but I'm like pretty damn sure that was her. But anyway, if that is, which I think it is, it is. That's just great. That's just great to me to see a girl like kind of overtake her oppressor, if you will, and become like the main villain. I love that shit. That's great, man. That's really cool writing. Like, oh, this is just some throwaway character. Oh wait, no, she's not. She's like infiltrating. She's sucking her way to the top. And then they make their terrible music video in this pretty funny. And the first time that this blonde chick listens to heavy metal music, and she's like transported, and she has her own Viking vision, and of course, like, even though she's straight for some reason, she still has like two babes at her legs. I think people have been looking at that Vacation and Star Wars cover too long of like the girl like on the guy's leg, like, oh my god, save me. Um, I just find it funny that she says she sees chicks instead of like a dude, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I think that's pretty funny. Now, I'm. This is always like one of those things I always talk about, like where it's clearly a guy who wrote this shit. You know, it's clearly a guy who writes this kind of shit where the girl is like, yeah, is not into metal, isn't into horror movies, isn't it? We always get this in movies where the guy just like shows her this thing, and then like by the end of the movie, she's like dressed in all black and she's changed her hair and she's all metal now. Maybe that's possible. I just don't see it. Like, that's just a dude fantasy. That's just a dude fantasy. Like, you're gonna take this, blonde babe who's like not into your shit, and you're gonna kind of morph her in to being some metalhead. I just, yeah. I mean, it'd be great. Wouldn't that be great? Although, I just want to meet the chick who's already into metal. I would like to meet the chick who's already into horror movies. You know what I mean? Like, although I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want to try to control anybody. But if I show a chick like who's like always had, an aversion to it or always thought it was shit, and I was like, hey, or listen to some metal or listen to some punk or listen to whatever, and she's like, I don't want to listen to this shit, and then I put it on, she's like, wow, I can't believe it. I think I might like this, and then within a year she's just like, going to work listening to fucking metal. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. But I don't know. I guess I just haven't ever encountered it in my life, and I just kind of call bullshit. But maybe people can change in that way. Not bullies; they're pieces of shit for life. And I like how the piece of shit friend in this movie. God, dude, I really need to start writing down names. Um, Brody is Milo's name, and then Zach is the guy I'm talking about. Thank God for the names here on the back. So Zach, his friend he makes, who's a total piece of shit, but kind of redeems himself at the end. But at the same time, I'm like, his redemption is too easily accepted. Like he lied to the dude's love interest when he found out she wanted him, and then goes over there and seduces her in her weakened state because she's like in this rejected mindset. That's so fucked up. Now, what they end up doing together, I don't know. He asks if they hooked up, and she kind of like ignores the question or like kind of confirms it, so to speak. And I've talked about this many, many times. In my day, hooking up was making out. Hooking up nowadays for kids is fucking. Fucking was fucking when I was a kid. Like, did you guys have sex? Yes. Did you hook up? Yeah, we made out. Like the whole like when someone told me they hooked up with somebody, I was like, oh, so that's cute. You guys made out, and they're like, I hope I'm not pregnant. And it's like, from making out? And they're like, that's not what hooking up is. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. So that's just dramatically changed. And so I'm really confused here because these are high school students of today. So that could mean that hooking up, but they're also like 30 in real life. So maybe they meant hooking up in my sense. So I don't know what the fuck they did. We only ever see them kiss. That's it. So what, he fucked her on the park bench right there? I don't know. Um, I don't know. The way she kind of reacts to it, it looks like they fucked. Like if they just made out, I just don't see her reacting the way she reacted. But I don't know. I don't know. They're drinking, and yeah, he probably fucked her. Yeah, but maybe he didn't. I don't know. But yeah, I love how that dude Zach is fucking smoking while siphoning petrol or gasoline. I thought that was what an idiot. Um, and we got literal devil music in here. So these kids listen to devil music and then they basically summon the devil. This, of course, reminds me of something like Devil's Candy, which I need to watch again. I actually have the Blu-ray and would need to watch it again at some point soon. Love all the vomiting of the blood, especially the teacher vomiting the blood in the student's face. Really, really disgusting, funny stuff. And the way that it's not only just emulating Evil Dead in its storyline and its depiction of the deadites or the demons in this, but it's also the camera movements and the camera angles. It's very Evil Dead, like the way they like zoom in fast, and as the guy turns around, he's like, ah. You know, it's very, very deep, very, very Evil Dead, on purpose, no doubt about it. And then when they kill Zach's dad, and he's like, honestly though, I think it might be the way he would want to go. That shit's funny. That's another just funny. And then Brody like tries to confirm with him. So he would want this, this, and this to have happened, and he's like, "Fuck yeah, man!" It's so funny. It's ridiculous. I love it. And then we get a really badass axe head split from. Let's see, does her name on here anywhere? The blonde babe. I would assume she's got to have her name on here somewhere. No? Wow. I can't believe it, because that's like half the movie is him like pining after this chick. Fuck. Whatever her name is. But yeah, when they go to like the psychic chick and they're talking to her about like what's gonna happen, she's like, it's gonna happen at 3 a.m. and he's like, 3 a.m. Pacific, or like that shit is great, man, because this is something I'm always laughing about. Like, you know, when you watch something like nothing specific enough, not even close to specific enough. Like when you watch the Gremlins or something, and it's like, don't feed him after midnight, and it's like, so then when can I feed him? 6 a.m. Like when does the cutoff happen? You know, you got to be more specific than that. You've got to, and yeah, it's gonna happen at this time. like here, like or somewhere else. Like times changes everywhere, so 3 a.m. isn't gonna work. So yeah, I love that he asked for specificity. And then they use sex toys as weapons. This is great because not only are they like smashing them with like anal beads, which are huge, by the way. Holy shit, these Christian folks really know how to take it. But this like big black dildo, and they end up, actually killing them with these things. Like Zach takes the dildo and completely smashes this guy's jaw off and grabs and throws it into his throat, ripping his whole jaw off. That's great stuff, man. And then the anal beads, or I'm sorry, the two dildos he uses as like, you know, knives essentially, and shoves them into the head, and then the fucking one just keeps spinning in her head. And then when Brody goes in the room and comes back out, Zach is like 69 to the dead bodies, and because the thing's still in her head moving, it looks like she's like blowing him. And he's like, "What? I found him like that." Such good humor, man. So funny. Such juvenile shit, and I'm very juvenile in my humor, I guess. And I also love that when Brody runs out to grab the chainsaw, he he tries to start the thing like 40 times and can't do it. It's so funny, man. That's good stuff. And then he comes in and he like chainsaws all her guts out, and there's some really good chainsaw stuff in here. Really good chainsaw stuff. Of course, Evil Dead would be the first thing that comes to mind when you're chainsawing demons. And yeah, the whole friend coming back and him forgiving him so fast, and they do their little handshake fucking metal sign thing, which is pretty cool actually. They put their hands together, and that's cool. But I'm just like, I don't know if I'd be that quick to forgive you. But then again, I've never been attacked by demons and a guy comes in and saves my life, and I'd be like, well, it's kind of hard not to thank you in the moment. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not putting myself in the situation properly enough. He sticks fucking Zach runs into this room and sticks a chainsaw up a guy's ass. This is great, man. This is great stuff. And then he like jumps in the air and he does this like spinning helicopter chainsaw move, and he cuts off the head of like every demon. Is this ridiculous? Of course, the whole fucking movie's ridiculous, but it's still fun. And then he lands with him like crossed across his chest and all. It's so silly, but so fun. And then Neil, the pianist, the keyboard guy, he gets his head ripped off and his spine comes out with it. And then Giles, the drummer, gets his arms torn off. I don't feel like we see him properly die though. Like I don't think. I mean, ripping your arms off, you bleed to death eventually, but not instantly. And then there's just like a full-on slaughter at the end of this. Whether it's like Zach cutting people up, or it's Brody, or it's the blonde chick, or the demons. It's just like people murdering each other. It's great. Such good gore. Such good gore. And then the chick that was blowing the guy, who's like the demon at the end, she's like trying to take in the spirit of Aloth or whatever. Aloth, I think it is. The blind one. She's like trying to take in the spirit of this thing, and like it zaps her top off, of course, and she's got these great tits, and like the fucking lightning is like circling her tits, and that's great. That's hilarious. That's sexy, and it's awesome, and it's funny, and it's like everything. It's so great. It just zaps her top. A lot of zapping of tops in this movie. So good stuff. And then Zach goes in, kills her, and he gets the demon. And then they kind of have like this little bit of a drama moment between them, which kind of feels a little forced, but it doesn't bother me. It's just is what it is in the moment. And he has to kill him, and then yeah, we fast forward. Not even that long. It's like 3 months, real quick. Somehow I still live in the house, even though everyone's dead in town. I'm not really sure, like, what they did to recover after that. But yeah, they're they're there in that house, and I think it was said it was like up for sale. Maybe they're like squatting. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. But she's a big metalhead now. And then she throws on a record, and it like gets demonic for a second, and then he starts freaking out. And then I guess Zach made some joke thing. I don't know how this all worked out, but it's like a just kidding, mate, and maybe that was him from the other side, or maybe he is that what it is? Is like he's fucking with him from the other side? That's got to be what it is, right? But whatever it is, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Just like just fucking with you, and the movie ends. I love it. I love it. I love it, man. If you haven't seen this movie for some reason, it's got an alternate cover inside. Um, Yikes. But I feel like that's the one everyone knows. So when I saw that this was inside, oh, and it even looks like a record. So it's Deathgasm's one and only record right there. Um, but yeah, man, so fun. Such a fun flick. If you're into metal and you're into horror and you haven't seen this movie, then why the hell did you watch this review? Watch the fucking movie. It's fantastic. It's so fun. The characters are great. Could they have fleshed things out a little bit more? Could they have done like a couple more things to like bring this into legendary status? Sure, but as it sits right now, I think it's still great. I think it's like a cult classic in the making, or if it's not already one. But yeah, so anyways, rock on, guys. Adios.